Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday, our Tech Tuesday. And I've taken a bit of a break from the nutrition side of things for a while and covering the business aspect. And we are learning about how network marketing actually works. What is it? What isn't it? It's not door-to-door selling. It's not direct selling. Network marketing is a completely different program, which very few people actually understand. And we're covering a book called The 45-Second Presentation because that's all it takes is a 45-second talk or however you'd like to pitch to somebody. Yeah, would you be open to looking at a way to earn some extra money? And it takes 45 seconds to say it. If you show them the card where the wording is on, it takes them about 35 seconds to read it. And then they can't tell you, but they don't have time. So that's what we've been covering at the moment. And I'm going to share my screen and just get rid of all of these other things. Okay. So the presentation was done or put together by Don Failer, who's been in network marketing for a good many decades. And he's put together this book called The 45-Second Presentation That Will Change Your Life. And we've gone through a few pieces of it already. And we're going to get to the next part tonight, which is that three deep duplication is crucial. You're not duplicated until you are three deep. And let's say you are here in figure 3. Let me just get me out of the way over here. This is you. This is you. You're going to teach Tom how to teach Carol to sponsor Betty. So you write you in the top circle, and you are going to sponsor Tom. And you write Tom in the lower circle and connect the circles with a line. Now, if you leave and Tom doesn't know what to do because you haven't taught him, then, well, that's the end of it. But if you do teach Tom how to sponsor, and he sponsors Carol, draw a third circle under Tom and write Carol, you're only beginning to duplicate yourself. So 2 levels down, you still aren't duplicated. However, if Tom doesn't learn how to teach Carol to sponsor, then again, it will fizzle out. And that's the end of it. And I think that's a very common problem in a lot of teams, mine especially. You have to teach Tom how to teach Carol how to sponsor. Then she can sponsor Betty or whoever else. Now you are 3 deep. If you go away to work with someone else or to a different area, this subgroup will continue on. I emphasize, you have to go 3 deep. You have nothing until you are 3 deep, and only then are you duplicated. If you don't communicate anything but this one point to the people you sponsor, then you will have the key that will make you more successful than most others in any network marketing program. So when we talk about salesmen don't do well in this business. They crash and burn. And here's what happens to the salespeople. They look at the demonstrations of the products and they hear or read the testimonials of the results others have had with the products. Armed with this information, they just want you to get out of their way so they can go out and sell like crazy. Remember, they're salespeople. That's what they do. Unfortunately, only 4% of the population actually like sales. They've been in the direct selling business and they don't have any problem calling on strangers. And these are the guys that phone you up and say, thank you for being a wonderful subscriber to our network, and we would like to give you something for free. It's only going to cost you an extra 400 Rand a month, and it's not going to cost you any money, just an extra 400 Rand a month. Where would you like us to send it? And most people go, and they give them the address, and the guy says, thank you very much. And he's done the sale, and he's chalked up his commission, and off he goes to the next one. This is not what we do. So You say to your super salesperson, if you want to make the big bucks, you cannot do it by yourself. You have to sponsor people. So what does the salesman do? He or she goes out and sponsors. Your super salesperson will just sponsor up a store. A good salesperson in a network marketing program can sponsor 3 or 4 people per week. But here is what really happens. It gets to a point, and it doesn't take long, that people are dropping out as fast as they are being added. Think of a pipe. You push a whole lot of little balls in one side, and when it's full, the one in the front pops out, and to make room for the one at the back, and pops out, pops in, pops out, and it just is never ending. If you don't work with new people effectively, and you can't be effective if you're trying to work with more than 5 at a time, you will see them becoming discouraged and giving up naturally. So your super salesperson, being discouraged and a little bit impatient, doesn't think anything is happening and goes off to look for something else to sell. The person who sponsored the super salesperson, thinking this guy was going to make him rich, gets discouraged and also gives up. Most people who have made it big in network marketing don't have a sales background. I don't think Charlie was ever a salesman. I don't think Louis was ever a salesperson. They may not be teachers professionally, but most of them come from backgrounds with an element of teaching in it. There is an example of one teacher and one school principal who, after only 24 months in a network marketing program, were earning in excess of $15,000 per month. Now convert that to rands, that's a fair amount of change. And I'll never forget watching Mdu Mokoena do a presentation up in Empangeni. He was doing a presentation with his team up there, and our gate crashed the party. And I sat in the back, and this hall was full of Mdu's team, and there were about 4 or 5 pale faces in the whole group. And he did a full-on presentation on the stage in Zulu. I don't understand Zulu, but I knew exactly what he was saying from his tone. And I was still new in the business, so I didn't really know a lot, but I knew exactly what Mdu was saying, what he was putting across, because of the way he spoke and his body language. I didn't understand a word he said, but the way he taught it, I understood it. And Mdu is a teacher, or was a teacher. So this couple did it, and they are doing it by teaching others how to do it also. So now we need to examine the bottom line. Let's put some numbers in the super salesperson approach so we can see more clearly where he or she went wrong. We will assume that this person, being the super salesperson, went out and sponsored 130 people. Let's also say that these sales pros got each of them to sponsor 5 others, adding 650 more for a total of 780 in his or her organization. I'm sure you agree, having 780 people in your organization would be really good. However, sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? Ask your people this question when you show this to them. Which do you feel you could do more quickly? Sponsor 5 people who are serious and teach them how to teach, or go out and sponsor 130 people? So think about it. Can you get 5 people going, or do you find it easier to get 130 people going? You'll have to answer that question. Incidentally, the question will come up, but what do I teach them? The answer is you teach them the 10 napkin presentations you are learning right here in this presentation. They need to have an understanding of all 10, but initially just the first 4, which is exactly what we are covering in this series. How long do you think it would take you to sponsor 130 people? How many of the first ones would be left when you sponsored number 130? You would find that you're losing them pretty fast, sort of like a leaky bucket. Yet you will discover the retention rate on the 718 napkin presentation number one to be quite high. Once you show this to a salesperson and they understand it, they will say, aha, now I see what I've got to do. And they will go out and do it. However, a word of caution, be careful. You must hold them back. It's like a racehorse. I don't know if you've ever worked with a racehorse. They generally only have two speeds. They walk or they go at flat out gallop. And that's pretty much how a salesperson would work. They walk and then they go, okay, I get this, and they go. And they go at flat out gallop, and you can't pull them back, but you have to. Because a typical sales superperson doesn't understand what we've just gone over in this chapter, most sponsors in network marketing will literally encourage their people right out of the business. Been there, done that, lost people. They will sponsor someone, and the new distributor will come to them and say, hey, I got 5 new people last week. So you say, great, and encouragingly slap the distributor on the back when you should actually be slapping him on the back of the head. The following week, this person signs up 5 more people. What has become of the 5 that were signed up the first week? They've gone. It just disappeared. And this is why Charlie always says he doesn't like the company version of 3 for free. Oh, sorry, 3 in 30. He prefers the 3 down in 30. So it is a duplication, not a spread out 3. It's a down 3. If you understand the salespeople failure syndrome, you can still encourage them, but at the same time stress the point of how important it is to take those first 5 they sponsored and help them get started. After I've sponsored someone, it's more important to me to go with them and help them sponsor someone else than it is for me to go out and sponsor another person for myself. And I know Louis does that. He gets people up to, I think it's senior manager level. And once they're at senior manager level, he says, okay, you're on your own. And he goes off and he starts working with the next one. And he gets them up to senior manager, goes off and works with the next one. And he just keeps that going. And I suspect Charlie does a similar sort of thing. And you've got to be careful. You've just got to help them sponsor another person first before you go out and sponsor more people. This point will come up again in a couple of other presentations. In one of the programs Don was involved in, he sponsored this fellow named Carl. Carl told him about his plan to sponsor his daughter in Tennessee and that she knew everybody in town. He was talking to Carl on the phone and related to him that he thought it was great. Don quickly added, however, that he needed to tell him something to pass on to his daughter. Don asked him if he had a piece of paper and pencil handy, which he did, fortunately, and then had him write down 2 times 2 is 4 and write on through it. Don instructed him to immediately phone his daughter and let her know the mistakes to avoid so she would get started in the right direction. He did call her, and it's working out very well for both of them. It will work for you too. So when this book was written, back in the dark ages, this is when they still had to use that old, horrible, big, heavy phone attached to the wall. There was no such thing as, let's do a video call on WhatsApp or FaceTime. Let's do a Zoom call. Everything was done telephonically. So he had to talk this guy through it, not look here, let me share my screen and show you what to do. It would have been so much easier. And just think how spoilt we are these days with all the tools we have. So the 4 things that you need to do. And this is napkin presentation number 3. In the first presentation, we told you some of the things to do. And in the second presentation, we told you some of the things not to do with regards to working in depth with your organization. In this presentation, we'll show you 4 things you have to do to be successful in a network marketing program. Remember, you can be in a network marketing program, you can be in a marketing program, but to be successful in a network marketing program takes a little bit more skill. And these 4 things are an absolute must. Everybody in network marketing who is making $100,000 or $200,000 per year or more has done and is still doing these 4 things. Charlie's making in excess of this per month at the moment. So we're going to talk about a road trip. Those of us that traveled to Pretoria recently went on a road trip. Now, to help you remember these 4 things, we've illustrated the points in a story that you can relate to your people. People always remember stories. As they say, facts tell, stories sell. So if you tell a story, and especially if you show pictures, people will get the point a lot quicker, better, and with more understanding than if you just spin off a whole lot of facts and figures. They will not only pick up on the story, but will also remember the have-to-dos. And here's how the story goes. Not once upon a crime. We start off and we want to go from one state to another state. In this particular instance, we'll talk about going from KZN to Pretoria. Let's imagine you want to take a trip in the family car and you're going to leave rainy, we'll say Durban, and drive to sunny Pretoria because the sun was shining brightly when we left there. The sunshine in Pretoria will represent reaching the top in the program that you're in. When you get there, you are successful. You're at the pinnacle. The first thing that you have to do is get in and get started. We couldn't get to Pretoria if we sat here in our lounge. Suitcases were packed, everything was done, and we sat here. You know, we're going to Pretoria now. We're going to Pretoria now. You don't get anywhere. So you've got to get in and get started. If you don't, in our case, go downstairs, open the garage, climb in the car, flick the key, nothing's going to happen. The car's not going to start. There aren't, and just to put that in a different perspective, if you've got a fancy car and you don't have the key with you, you're not getting in and you're not getting started. So you've got to have the key. There aren't any people in network marketing who have made a lot of money unless they first got started. The amount of money it takes to get started depends on the company and the program you choose as your vehicle. Remember, this training is generic. Obviously, we work with our particular company, but this training is generic and works with any company. And it can range, your starter fee will range anything from $25 upwards. In our particular case, it's in the region of about 800 to 900 Rand. We'll put it into rands, which is probably in the region of about $50, $50 to $100. The second thing you need to do as you take this trip is to buy gas and oil, because I wouldn't have gotten to Durban to get on the plane if there was no fuel in my car's fuel tank. So as you travel to the top, you will use up the fuel and oil products, and it will be necessary to replace them. Network marketing works best with products or services that are consumable. You will use the products or services up and buy them again and again and again, because we don't just buy a bottle of Super 10, a bottle of LDC, and a bottle of TNN, and that's it. You never ever buy them again. And I've always gotten very frustrated when I sign somebody up, and I will say it as a sign up, not a sponsorship, because I'm obviously falling short. But I sign somebody up, they're all excited, they really want to do this, and they get their kit, and that is the last money that they spend in the company. And a year later, they fall out and they disappear. And I get very frustrated because then I feel as though they've thrown money away. They've joined out of sympathy for me. And I hate that part because I'm not doing this for them or for me. I'm doing it for them because I want them to make something of themselves, to improve themselves, to get better, to get healthier. And when they don't do anything, I get very sad because I feel like I've failed them. And it's usually not through lack of trying because I say, listen, we need to do a kit opening, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do the next thing. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. And there's no, we're going to make a time for this. And if you do make a time, generally it gets cancelled at the last minute, which gets very frustrating because I feel then that I can't do the training because I'm not getting to meet with them, and it becomes very frustrating. So people need to learn to use the products. I'm fortunately at the stage now where I'm able to order virtually every week because not only am I using the products myself, but I'm talking to people about those products and that way moving more. And as a result, I'm getting orders almost every week and able to keep going. And I would love for more people to do this. So whoever's watching this, if you are watching this series just to see what it's all about, this is what it's all about. These products work. And you're going to be your own best customer. So a lot of people say, oh, I don't do sales. I don't do sales either. I do purchasing. So if you are selling to yourself as your own best customer, that's where you're going to make your money. And that sounds so contradictory and I think very confusing to a lot of people. What this means is that you yourself must use the products or services of the company you represent. You cannot sell what you don't use yourself, because if you're using it, you will understand it better. So you need to use the products, which is your fuel. A little bit of an additional background. Remember, we showed you in presentation one that with 780 distributors, it doesn't matter which program you're in, you will have a very sizable volume. Imagine 780 people using 100 PV a month. I'll let you do the maths on that one. Naturally, you can see the advantages of building a business with a vehicle that has consumable products and services. And then you need to buy more products. So most network marketing companies are in that category. Non-consumables are usually marketed through retail or direct sales methods, but not always. And think about a certain plastic company that had a lifetime guarantee on their products. And that's direct sales. And look what's happened to that company now. There's another cookware company also has a lifetime guarantee on all of their products. They don't do a lot of turnover. The other result of using the products or company services yourself is you will get excited about them because when you use them, you know that they work. So you're going to want to automatically share your results with friends. Rather than spend a large sum of money on advertising, network marketing companies put their money into product or service development, and as a result, will usually have a higher quality product or service than that which is normally available in a retail store. Because we've seen where all the money runs away to in normal retailing. Because there's your transport, there's your shoplifting, there's your waste, there's your returns, there's a whole lot of different things. And everybody who touches those products wants a cut. Whereas with us, we're getting directly from the supplier and we're passing over to our customer. We are the middleman. We're not 10 middlemen, we are one. And that's what makes the difference. And because we are using the products, we are talking to people, which we do automatically. Hey, did you see there was a special offer in this particular store on potatoes today? Where are you going to go buy your potatoes? Or, wow, this particular thing works so good. I've really, really enjoyed using it. Great. Where did you get it from? Well, I got it from over there. And off they go and they get it. Does the store pay you a commission? No, but you've done the sales. And we do the same thing. So let's get back to the story that illustrates our 4 points. The third thing you, of course, do is to get into high gear. Of course, you realize that nobody starts out in high gear. If you drive a manual car, you don't start in fifth gear. You're probably not going to get very far. You could maybe start in second gear, but you're certainly not going to take off on a hill in second gear. And you're not going to get very far if you start in third or fourth or fifth or sixth, depending on how many gears your car's got. We all start out in neutral. And incidentally, please notice that we are not driving an automatic. It requires work. We may be in the car, still in the driveway, with the key turned on and the motor racing, but if we never get out of neutral, we will never get to our ultimate destination, or anywhere else for that matter. You might get very frustrated, but that's about it. To get your car into gear, you must sponsor someone into the business. When you sponsor someone, you are in first gear. When we believe you should be in first gear 5 times with 5 serious people. In one of the other presentations, we show you how to determine which of your people are serious. And that is where I'm going to stop for now, and I'll continue again next week. Does anybody have any questions or comments at this stage? We've got about 5 minutes left.
Well